Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being patient, and we are back with the FSL MLBB MYSG competition. Quite a mouthful, but before we begin the game, a big shout out to Dreamcall, Super Solid, and Yahoo for being our official partners and sponsors for this competition itself. It looks like all teams are already ready, so let's jump straight in. Remember, this is going to be the grand finals, which means it's going to be a best of 5. And right now we're going to see the Selena and Diggy ban out from Asterisk. So they're banning out all these pesky supports. Meanwhile on Dream side they ban out the Grog and Valor, which in my opinion, it's a lot better this time around. You know, banning out the Valor is really important. If they have been watching the stream, they were playing their games as well, but if, you know, they had the opportunity to quickly go to watch back the stream to see the draft that the opponents played, they were seeing that Valor was a really important call for Asterisk. That was the reason why the draft really worked for them. But yeah, looks like they're gonna be picking out the carry and the jawhead. So they're going to deny the jawhead away from Asterisk. At the same time, they also pick up the carry. And Asterisk is just gonna settle for the Uranus as well as the Qualifier, and they pick up the Chow. So really tanky lineup from Asterisk, which is what I really like. Although there is a Sylvana pick from Dreams, which will set up into both teams not having the, or rather Asterisk not having the MM. So if I'm Asterisk at this point in time, I should be looking to actually ban out the, I mean, there's a lot of heroes that they can actually ban out. I would suggest banning out a mage. So something like a Lunox. I think banning out a Lunox or a Harif would be pretty good. Although, you know, if you look at the draft right now, they don't really have to worry about those two. So they ban out the Farsa, which I completely forget about Farsa. That's my mistake on my part. I think Farsa is still quite viable. You know, you do get quite a bit of output in terms of damage from her. She's really good early game. You have, you know, her second skill, which allows her to go past the walls, and that's just something that I should not have forget about. I can't believe I actually forgot about the Farsa. But with that being said, it looks like it's down to Dreams to ban out. I think Granger would be a good ban, but they ban on Sicilian, which is pretty, I gotta say, pretty surprising. I would have guessed to ban out the Granger, either the Granger or the Bruno, because both heroes would actually fit in the Asterisk draft really well. I think Granger would be a better fit here, because it does give them the distance needed to still damage the Sylvana. You know, she's still able. I think 1-1's fine as well, but you know, if you look at the draft coming up on Dreams, I think Granger is just a better pick instead of 1-1, because you know, if you pick up a 1-1, she doesn't really have someone to stack other than the Jawhead, but Jawhead is definitely going to be jumping right into her, toss her right back into her teammates, which then would be really bad. And then you got Sylvana with the lockdown, which means that even if she uses a second skill to negate one of the CCs, she's still going to get stunned. I think Granger is just a better pick because of the range. You know, they have a more balanced draft in terms of, you know, having those two off laners do the damage for her or the front line for her, and then she still has the Qualifier in front to soak up the damage. She can do damage from afar, doesn't really have too much to worry about getting caught out. They pick up the Aurora to complete their lineup, which is really good. You know, Aurora's CC is just generally good overall. Dream's gonna pick up the Nana as well as the Hylos. I like this. I like the fact that they go for the Hylos, because, you know, I mentioned about Asterisk being able to keep the distance. So they pick up the Hylos. You know, you have the Glorious Pathway. It does help with engaging and disengaging depending on how you look at it. So this time around, both sides are pretty, I wouldn't say it's balanced, but in a way, I think Dreams can do serious damage if they can, you know, get the carry up to speed. It's always the same thing, right? Whichever marksman you're picking, whether it's the carry, whether it's the 1-1, you're gonna get them to late game compared to, you know, pick up a Bruno and a Granger, which can come online early into the first 5 minutes of the game.
Smash them. All troops deployed.
So there we have it. Asterisk going to be playing on the blue side, Dreams going to be playing on the red. So far both teams are pretty dominant in their lineup, or rather in their run-up coming into this competition. Both teams having 2-0s throughout the knockout stages. You got Irene doing decent damage onto the Sylvana compared to the Jawhead laning up against her, where we saw, you know, Alpha Gaming putting the Jawhead against the Sylvana. I think, you know, Chao just does so much more against, you know, heroes like that, where you have a CC, you have a Chukundo, and then when she hits that level 4, she's just gonna blow that Sylvana up. I think Uranus is a really good pick in this sense. You can see why Alpha Gaming chose to ban out the Uranus, because he's just gonna be such a hero, it's just gonna be such a pain to deal with, especially in a 1v1 where she has a decent amount of not only damage output, but she's not exactly the easiest hero to kill. So Joy definitely doing really well with the toss. Gonna make that Uranus soak up a bit of those shots. So they do spot out, you know, 4 heroes onto the top lane, which means they can kind of pressure the bottom side. And you know, they have really good game sense. I mean, Asterisk on their part. There's a reason why Tian is one of the MPL players to look out for as well, because you have the Qualifier that's coming to the top against alongside the Chao, and that's gonna slow down the push coming up from Dreams. But they're doing an absolute good job at charging this one out. Glorious Pathway lands down as well, just to chase onto them. They want Tian, they will get her, but now here comes the rest of the cavalry, and Mickey's just in the midst of it all. Not the place you want to be as a Granger, and Dreams just doing a fantastic job at getting not only the 3 kills, but they might get even get the top tower, which I'm pretty sure once they clear up the jungle, they will go for it. Really good engagement coming up from the side of Dreams. I didn't expect them to go for such a ballsy move right there. You know, going in, dropping the Glorious Pathway, forcing the engagement, and then getting those 3 kills on the board. A bit of a misplay coming up from Mickey as well. Like I said, you know, positioning wise, a bit questionable. You don't want your Granger in the middle of it all. I think they saw the damage output coming up from the Death Sonata as well as the Rhapsody, and they thought, you know what, we can just go in for the kill. But that was a little bit of a miscalculation. Like I said, Uranus has a lot of doing what a Uranus should be doing, but not sure if she's looking at the map. She's probably going to give up a life right here. Carrie's going to secure it. But in the meantime, Asterisk will trade that off by taking away the turtle. Queen actually wanted to spot them out, but was actually chased with a child. Now she lands it. She's a little bit squishy at this point of time. Glorious Pathway once again trying to get her teammate out of the way, but not enough. And Angel will look at Queen as she goes down. Chao will kick her back into place as well with the Way of the Dragon. And then Kufra just gonna use the ultimate to secure it, although Tian will give up her life for that kill. Dreams definitely doing a really good job at keeping Asterisk in check. 4 minutes in, they are leading by 3k, and that's gonna go up with the middle turret getting taken out. Meanwhile, Rolling is about to complete that. I believe it's gonna be an endless battle, but Irene now in a lot of trouble. Tried to overstep her boundaries by going for the carry, and they set up the bait perfectly. Irene dropping that, you know, CC right behind the child just to catch her out of place, and now Tian in a bit of difficulty. Aurora does land the Icy Destruction, but I don't think that's enough. That Cold Devastation didn't have enough damage. Now Mickey, one more hit away, Carry will secure the kill, and now they're pushing down onto the bot lane. And if you look at this lineup, this is what you should be doing against Asterisk. Just stuffing up the farm, you know, going for those decisive push, forcing the issue onto those team fights. And even with the Uranus split pushing, you know, there's just not enough push available on Asterisk's early game to take down those towers. Yes, you have the Granger, you have the Aurora, you have a decent amount of CC with the Chao, but early game wise, because of the rotation coming from Dreams, they're just 5-manning every single one of these fights. Look at that, and once again another 5-man down to mid, ready to take this fight. Glorious Pathway gonna get injured out of the fight just in time, but now the CC coming up. Sylvana does lock down the Aurora. I'm pretty sure Bubble Tea will go down here, and another solo kill coming in. Alright, not a solo kill, but you know, they do manage to get 1 kill off Asterisk lineup, which is always nice. They steal the blue buff away. Endless battle gonna be completed by rolling. And the idea here, whoa, a lot of major items coming up. Endless battle completed for both the carry as well as the jaw hit. Sylvana's gonna be pick up her concentrated energy. And then we're gonna see the Nana complete the amulet as well. So that's just gonna, you know, just negate a lot of the lifesteal that's coming off from the Granger. And I think the, you know, Necklace of Endurance is really more for the Uranus, just to, you know, negate the amount of lifesteal she has. Granger gonna be blowing up with the crit damage onto the jaw hit. They dive right onto the backline as well. They get the jaw hit, but I'm sure that Mickey going off it's a way more worth it trade, right? You take away the marksman, you slow down the farm, so pretty good trade. Uranus still split pushing onto the top side. 4k gold for Dreams. This could be quite a messy situation for Asterisk. They do dive in, but they do lose the Uranus before all of this happens. They drop the heal as well, and they do get the Qualifier. So even with the heal, they keep their members up and healthy. Meanwhile, Asterisk definitely having a lot more issue with this draft compared to their previous opponents. Now Sylvana just casually diving on the backline. They do lose her, but they get the Chow. Gotta say, that was definitely worth it because they will secure the tier 2 mid turret as well. Mickey has to be careful about repeating the same mistake, does back off in time, but in return they will lose that blue buff. Dreams definitely very objective focused right now. Jaw hit going in for the Uranus, will get knocked back. And I'm sure at this point, you know, Dreams is just waiting for the lot to come up. They can go for another team fight if they want to, but at this point, all they have to do is just, I mean, repeat what they've been doing throughout, right? Just 5-man meet all the way. And if I'm Asterisk, the one hero that I'm really looking to shut down right now is the Sylvana. Like, I gotta say, they have been doing a good job at taking the Sylvana out, but they need to blow up even before the team fight happens, because most of the time the Sylvana's just jumping into someone. She's like the scapegoat of this team. You know, go in, sacrifice your life, but you lock someone down long enough for the carry as well as the Nana to just blow anyone up. And although they don't really have too much AoE damage, they have such a decisive moment where, you know, when they go into someone, they immediately blow their person up, no hesitation. Whoever the Sylvana goes in, Nana throws the second skill down, they blow her up instantly, and then they focus on the next target, which works really well because they have a carry. They can stretch through the Uranus, and they also have the Necklace of Endurance, which negates all the regen that he wants to have through the passive. A bit of despair coming up for the jaw hit. They do lose the Sylvana once again, which is what I've been trying to state. You know, the Southern Asterisk, the only hero that they've really been getting off the board is the Sylvana, but they need to do much more than that. They need to take the Sylvana off the board. They need to find a team fight where they can go past the jaw hit and the Hylos, who's sitting so tightly on top of this carry, and it's giving her all the freedom in the world to just farm. Chow has to be careful with positioning. If Joy decides to throw her teammate back here, and yes, she does! Instantly gets stunned up. They'll blow her up with the jaw hit stun. Didn't even need Sylvana there as well. So they know it's a 4v5. And they can pretty much just wait around the Lord's Pit. Qualifier gonna run right into it. Once again, they're gonna throw Tian right back into place. They don't even have a lockdown, but they don't need to. High loss soaking up a lot of unnecessary damage. That's more than good enough to distract Asterisk for the time being. Cold devastation being pulled up from Aurora as well to stun up all three members there. That was the only reason why they won the fight, is because Bubble Tea did a really good ultimate to actually stun up 3 core members on the back line, while High Loss was just at the front by himself. So items wise, nothing too loud to shout about. Nana going for the Ice Cream one is pretty interesting. Aurora completing that Winter Truncheon just to provide a little bit more sustainability. It looks like we're going to see a no contest from Asterisk. I mean, they might want to contest this, but by the time they realize there's something's up, they would have gotten that Lord. So Glorious Pathway being laid out as well, and they might go for the counter engage. They already lost the jaw hit, so that might slow down the plans for now. Irene definitely a lot more cautious about face checking those bushes at this point in time, and it's gonna allow Dreams to just take all the jungle buffs away. I can't remember the last time that I've seen Carry go for her own jungle buff. That's how long, or rather how dominating Dreams have been in the first half of the game. That being said, Asterisk still have a way back into this. All they have to do is get the Granger up to speed. Like I said, it's more about finding, following up after they get the kill onto Sylvana. Cold Devastation gonna be landing onto the backline. They do catch out the Nana, but that is not enough. Look at that, High Loss just soaking up all the damage. They get the Kuva off the board. And it's gonna be pretty much an uneven trade so far. Tian and Irene going down. Dreams forcing the issue here. They have Lord at half HP. They're gonna toss the Uranus out of the base. They get her off the board, and now I'm pretty sure it's gonna be GG. Creeps just flooding into it. They get the Aurora in, and that's gonna be game 1 going into Dreams' favor. Well, gotta say that was a pretty one-sided affair. Much to my surprise, I gotta say. I mean the carry pickup was basically what decided, or you can see Dreams just pushing constantly with this 5-man, and I didn't mention about Asterisk having a really good formation or rotation, where you know they had this 3-man rotating around the Valor, and without the Valor, you really do see that it doesn't really have that impact. Yes, you have the Aurora, which has the CC and the damage needed, but she's not exactly like a Valor where you can just pop off, right? She's only got, she constantly has to set up her passive in order to get the stun in, and she doesn't really have as much damage as compared to a Valor. She doesn't really have the slow, and you know she's not exactly the most viable hero in this draft, in a sense where, you know, as compared to a Valor, you know, who can constantly find a fight anywhere, anytime. And the best part with Valor is that she has a push, and with the Valor out of the equation, you know, you can see Asterisk can't really get that going, can't really get that 3-man rotation going in the middle. So it really resorts to the Uranus having to split push all by himself, not really having the support that he really wants to have in this game, and that just kind of, you know, Dreams just basically identified the threat in the draft of Asterisk and just bullied them with this 5-man rotation, which is really a gamble, because if they failed to win that first team fight in the top lane, that could have been a really bad fight, because that would have meant that they were set back in terms of Uranus just split pushing bottom all the way. You know, they can't really take the top, they can't pressurize Asterisk, but you know, that really decisiveness in that moment where you saw the Hylos just laying out the glorious pathway, you know, taking out both the Kufa and the Chow, and then taking the top tier tower, tier 1 tower in the top lane, and then they follow up from there by going for objectives, you know, bullying Asterisk wherever it is, whether it's in the mid lane, the bot lane. They are just 5-manning every single fight, and that kind of forces Asterisk back. And by the time, you know, Asterisk gets Queen Bee, who's playing, or rather not Queen Bee, Queen Bee is actually Dream's lineup, but Asterisk, Mickey, who's playing the Granger. By the time, you know, Granger is able to get both the Endless Battle as well as the Blade of Despair, you pretty much have already lost every single tower. You know, there's a lot pushing down your wave, there's super minions coming out from every single lane, so that's really something scary to think about. With that being said, we'll go for a short break, but when we're back, we'll bring you game 2 between Dreams and Asterisk. Alright, without further ado, let's just jump straight into the second game's draft. The players are ready, I'm ready, I'm sure you guys have been waiting for this. We are down to game number 2. And you can see in the scoreboard right now, we've got Dreams and Asterisk switching places. Dreams going to be playing on the blue side, and we've got Asterisk playing the red.
Your team is banning.
So we do see the Velen Digi ban out once again. Dreams definitely focusing a lot on target bans.
Your team is picking.
You can see them banning out those heroes that work out really well. Asterisk this time around, they want to ban out the carry as well as the Nana. So both teams banning out all these heroes that are really good in early game. Like other than carry, Nana, Digi as well as Valor, they are pretty much supports that have decent amount of damage in them, and they most of the time just go for flame shot because that just adds on the damage to what they can already put out. And they're heroes that don't really need too much items. That is one key point that the viewers should understand. Like heroes that they are banning out here are heroes that don't need too much damage to come online. They have decent damage early game. You know, they have decent damage throughout the entire at whatever point in the game that you look at, they have the damage to put it out. And on top of it, there are heroes that have a lot of utility, right? You have the Valor with his CC and his slow. We've got Digi with the time reverse. He's got the stun, he's got CC immunity for his entire team, and then you've got Nana with Molina's gift, which means you have to kill her 2 times again. She's got the CC. But now let's take a look at the rest of the draft. For now, we've got Dreams picking up the Grok as well as the Farsa, and they're going to pick up Sivana for the first phase of the pick. And for the Asterisk, they're going to pick up the Jawhead, Bruno as well as Uranus. So sticking to the guns right here, definitely still counting on the Uranus. But this time around, they definitely do get the Jawhead, which was kind of denied from them in the first game. I think they might just ban out. I mean, with the marksman picked up already, they pretty much will have to ban out the mage, right? They really ban out the fella, but this time around they want to ban out the Chow, which is understandable. Like they really ban out the Valor, so I'm sure they're not too afraid of any of the mage that's put on the board. They already secured the Farsa for themselves, so they pretty much got a really good draft to lead into the second phase of the ban. I mean, for Asterisk, you got to ban out marksman here. You have to ban out the Granger. Like, don't give them the Granger. Pretty much the only marksman that can kind of go long range and toe to toe with the Bruno. So yeah, they ban out the Granger. Pretty straightforward there. You pick up the Kufa, you pick up a really tanky draft. So I think this time around, Asterisk have a better draft. That's only for the first phase. I have to see what Dreams pick up for the last 2. But I'm guessing that you pick up. I would actually like to see them pick up a 1-1. I think 1-1 is pretty good. But Kimi works fine as well. The thing about Kimi is that she's really good in the first half of the game. She's one of those heroes where she's good early game. If she snowballs hard enough, she can carry an entire team in the late game. But you know, she's, as a personal Kimi user myself, when you get shut down in the early game, it's just so frustrating because even when you have items up, your damage just doesn't scale into the late game at all. Like she's one of those heroes where it's you do well early game, that's it, you won the game. But if Asterisk can stop the Kimi early, then it's a nightmare for Dreams, because see what I did there, nightmare. Dreams turns into nightmare, because you do really have a lot of issue getting the Kimi to carry into a late game. Even if you have a Fasa, if you have a Sylvana, I think if your Kimi gets shut down in the first half of the game, it's gonna be quite a handful to deal with. But let's take a look at the end of the draft. It looks like they're gonna pick up a Rafaela. Pretty, I wouldn't say surprising, but definitely something that you don't really see too often. So that's gonna be the draft for now. We're gonna see Reen play the Farsa, Rolling gonna be playing the Kimi, Queeby playing the Sylvana, and Grok gonna be played by Angel. And last but not least, we're gonna be seeing Joy play the Leomon. Whereas on the side of Asterisk, they're gonna be playing the Jawhead, Bruno, Uranus, Kufra, as well as the Rafaela. So Dreams and Asterisk pretty much doing the same thing at this point, that 1-3-1 formation. And looks like they're going straight for the invade. Wow, Joy just picking up the first blood. I'm not sure what happened there, but Joy pretty much got the kill. And look at the amount of flame shots in contrast to what Asterisk have. Like 4 flame shots on the side of Dreams, whereas on the side of Asterisk, they pick up 4 flicker. So they're looking to just dive onto both the Kimi as well as the Fasa. Whereas this is a super aggressive lineup coming from Dreams. They would want to end the game early. They pick up 4 flame shots, which means they're always ready for a team fight. And given how much magical damage they have on this side, if they run this draft right, we could see this game end even before 15 minutes. Pretty much, I think the 10-minute mark, 10 to 12-minute mark would be good for Dreams. So they're just following through with what they had in plan, similar to what we saw in the first game. You know, pressure the side lanes. Meanwhile, onto the top side, they've already started the siege. Bruno now healing onto the Leomon. But the creep's gonna run out, and that's gonna slow down their push by a bit. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the map, we're gonna see Angel as well as the rest of the team just force their way through. Pretty sure they will secure this tier 1 on both sides. And looks like Asterisk wants to go for more. I mean, they can, but that creep is gonna die out. That's gonna not allow them to push any further. Meanwhile, Qualifier still stuck in his own world against Joy. Joy doing a good job at pushing the Qualifier backwards, which is what I think happened to Uranus in that first blood. Meanwhile, we do see Rin pushing down the bot lane. They did manage to get a kill onto Irene. And I like this. I like the fact that, you know, they put Angel into the brush, you know, scout out any members from Asterisk that's pushing in, as contrast to, you know, just having 4 members push the bot lane and then not having someone to really scout out for them. And the thing about Grok is that she can always just use the wild charge to get out of trouble, even if Asterisk tries to bring him down. So that's always nice to have. Asterisk are doing a really good job at pressuring the lanes. However, we do see them slacking a little bit in terms of pressure right now. Both teams now just going back to farming ways. And we haven't really seen the impact of that 4 flame shots just yet. Yes, they can blow up anyone. We saw them do that in the bot lane against the Jawhead, but I want to see that impact happen in the game. And I think Gideon, who's one of the casters for MPL, has addressed this before. He feels that, you know, flame shots is just hurting the game meta because everyone's just gonna pick flame shots, right? Really low cooldown, high damage scaling, and just something that you really don't want to go against. And now Tian jumping right onto the Leomord, which is the target that they want. They finally get the first, but look at that, look at those flame shots coming right through. A lot of heroes already down to half HP, and maximum charge not landing onto anyone there, which is a pity, because I think if they actually landed onto the Bruno, they might be able to, you know, continue into the fight, because that would have put Asterisk onto the back foot. And I'm sure they wouldn't be as aggressive as they are right now. Bruno and the rest of Asterisk gonna secure the mid lane. And now they're gonna start taking up the turtle at the same time. It's gonna be a no contest. While at this, meanwhile we've got the rest of Asterisk still farming up those lanes. Dream is gonna be doing the same thing. Dream's definitely not playing as aggressive as they should, right? You have the Kimi and you have the Farsa. You should be pushing out those lanes, but now we've got Asterisk in a little bit of trouble right now. Farsa catching them out. Tian dropping really low. Rin just jumping around the moment she uses the ultimate, and that's what you get with Farsa, right? The moment she has the ultimate down, you don't really have anything much. Queen B gonna be locking someone down with the second skill, but here we go. Farsa ultimate once again ready to go. They should be able to secure this kill to Uranus, but that should be all. I don't think they can get anything more out of the fight. Meanwhile, bot lane Joy going up against the Jawhead. Props to Asterisk, they are doing the right thing here, you know, pressuring those two lanes, and now they're looking to steal the raid buff, but I think that's just a little bit too tough with the Jawhead just by himself.
Healing for everyone.
I mean, this Rafaela draft is something that I wouldn't say is throwing me off, but it is a very intriguing pick. I would have thought that they decide to go for something else. I think even picking a Camille would have been something that I felt like was within Asterisk's comfort zone. But no, they decide to go for something really out of meta, which is the Rafaela. So it's gonna provide sustain and heal. It's a lot more team utility compared to Camille. And with the Jawhead down, now they're looking to take a fight. Sylvana now first one to go in. They managed to get the kill onto the Grok. But look at that, Tian being pushed back by both the majors. I'm sure she definitely does want to contest this one. I'm not sure why though, they could have just gone for it. They get the stun off, but Tian will burn the flicker just to get out of time. Meanwhile, bot lane, Uranus and the Leomord coming to a standstill. I don't think any of them can really do anything. It's pretty much a stalemate between these two heroes, right? Because Uranus just really good at cutting waves, you know, soaking up damage, and then Leomord's just really good at doing the same exact thing, right? I mean, not so much on the soaking damage portion, but I mean, there's really nothing that the Uranus can do to kill the Leomord, and same goes for the Leomord, vice versa. Raise this now. A little bit of trouble. Has to back off. But not too bad there. She did manage to pull out poor Joy's ultimate. Like I said, Dream's definitely playing a bit slow as compared to the previous game. And this is where I think, you know, Kimi has kind of lost the thread. And like I said, this is the risk that you have when you pick up the Kimi. And Farsa's going to drop the ultimate right now. Irene in a little bit of trouble. Looking to gang someone, and this is where the mistake has led. But now Qualifier stunning up both the Farsa as well as the Leomord. They get the first one off the board. And Mickey's right there. I think she used the ultimate at the right time, did manage to pick them up. Mickey playing a little bit greedily, tried to go for Rin. They will trade both the tanks out. Meanwhile, Sylvana in a 1v1 against the Uranus, which is about to turn into a 3v3.
Lord, resurrecting
So that was a both teams just going at it. They trade both the tanks, they trade both the offlaners. But at the end of it all, you know, end of the day, they don't really lose much. I mean, both teams just trying to make something happen on the map right now, trying to hopefully get a gank off. So as we approach the 10-minute mark, we've got Dream still leading with a 5k goal lead. And Lord come is pretty much the next objective on the map. They managed to stun up the Uranus, but not enough damage to do anything at all. Meanwhile, Qualifier running straight into Angel. They want to get the stun up, and the wall has been laid, but they immediately stun the Farsa out of ultimate. That's not enough. They do kick the Uranus, but that is not all. They also lose the Sylvana. And Irene now getting pushed back. That is good coming off the Leomord. Joy dropping really low. Rafaela coming a little bit late to the party. Mickey with the stun, or rather with the crit, just enough. But Rin pulls off a huge ultimate. They get a double kill, and this could be the turning point for them. They get Tian off the board as well. That is a 4 kill for the Troubles. But this is only the beginning. They still need to win at least one more team fight before making any significant damage onto the goal lead that Dreams have, or rather Asterisk have. It's a 5k goal lead for Asterisk. I can see that, you know, that fight did definitely put a little bit of a dip in the goal lead, but Asterisk still really healthy as of now. Scarlet Phantom coming up onto the Bruno. So they definitely want to get a little bit more attack speed on the Bruno, you know, just to get him, Mickey's crit up. So how Bruno's passive really works is that, you know, every single attack he does, it increases his crit chance up to 20%. So it's a 5 stacks. When he gets those 5 stacks at max, it's 20% increase for the 1 crits to happen. Both teams trying to get their hyper carries on the board, but right now it looks like Farsa did the right thing right there, trying to harass it. They do lose Angel, and they will even lose the Leomord, which is a big turn of events because they did a good thing by taking out the Jawhead. I think they should have just disengaged right there, but they committed too deep into the fight, losing both the Leomord and the Grog. But then again, good effort coming up from Tian to catch the members out of position. Sylvana does manage to land onto the Bruno. That is well played coming from Quinby. And now they can really turn this fight around. They've already cleared the Lord. And they're sticking right onto Tian. No way out for her.
Killing spree.
Queen B Looking for the next victim and the opponent's jungle, but there's this 3-man once again coming right through. With Grog just defending onto the backline, and they blow the Rafaela up. She has immortality, but she's just gonna die instantly once she gets revived. 32 seconds without the Rafaela, 8 more seconds before the Qualifier comes up, and I'm pretty sure they can push all the way down to the base. Lloyd coming up in 30 seconds, and they should be setting up a gang right here. Oh, he tries to go on the Bruno, but where is the backup? She's all alone. Queen Bee might have to sacrifice her life for it, but it doesn't matter. The long range assaults coming in from both Rin as well as Rolling with the maximum charge and the ultimate of the Farsa is more than enough to just push the rest of Asterisk back. That could have been a really bad fight coming in, because if they had lost to Sylvana, it's gonna be a 5v4. You know, Asterisk then can kind of just go for the Lord uncontested, and even if Dreams decides to contest for this, they could have just lost more members in that process. So a little bit of a fortunate situation for Dreams. Not so much for Asterisk. Good wall coming up on the Grog, gonna be stunning up the Bruno. They isolate the Kufra away from the rest of the battle. They burn the immortality. Sylvana once again dropping right onto Mickey. That's gonna be a 2-man kill onto Tien as well. And now they're looking to push this one. They don't even have to push. They can straight away go for the Lord. And that once again Queen Bee making the plays by catching out the Bruno time and time again. You can see Uranus just trying her luck, trying to steal away that Lord, and they do get it. They get the Lord. They sacrifice the Uranus, but that is a good gamble, because that's gonna summon the super minions for the waves that the Lord is alive. That is 2 waves, and I'm sure if I'm Dreams, I'm gonna be kicking myself right now. That Lord could have been the game-ending push, but no. Uranus coming in, and AS Evelov doing such a good job at just taking the Lord away. But once again, Queen Bee landing the Imperial Justice onto the Bruno. Those 2 times that she caught out the Bruno is the reason why Dreams have had a chance in this game. The Lord pushing down right now. It looks like the tables have turned. They take down the Lord pretty quickly. Irene taking quite a bit of damage. But still, Asterisk trying to end this game by patrolling right on the outskirts of the base of Dreams. Farsa's ultimate down for 20 seconds meanwhile. And Asterisk just having a little bit of an issue pushing into space. They are slowly chipping away at the HP of this towers through Bruno's crit. And the key thing to note right now is that as long as the Bruno doesn't get caught out by Queen Bee's cosmetic Emperor Justice, then Asterisk should have this game in the hand. So this time round, they're gonna be landing onto the wrong target. They try to go on the Kufra, but look at that, Leomon just desperately trying to get to Mickey, but that's not enough. The heal comes up, and this time round, Asterisk will not make a mistake. They get 3 men off the board, and not only that, they keep all 5 still alive. And even though both the Farsa is alive, as well as the Kimi, I think there's just too much damage on the board of Asterisk. Tien once again letting a 2-man stun. They keep the creep alive, and Mickey's just gonna pretty much end the game right here. So I can't say that I'm too surprised by the outcome of that. If you look at the builds right now, you've got the Kimi, who's decided to go for full magic damage, and you've got the glowing wand, the genius wand, and then you also have the ice cream wand. So a lot of wands, a lot of wands on the mod. But yeah, what I'm trying to just pretty much say is that you have this all-in mentality from Dreams, who's trying to just lay all the damage early game, but I felt like they didn't really utilize the Kimi too much, or rather to the maximum potential. Yes, the mana right now is that 131, that hyper, high carry where you buy 4 masks and try to get the game going, but I felt like that was just a little bit too much. That was just too much that Dreams had to handle, right? You had to burn through the Kufra, you had to burn through the Jawhead, and then there's also the Rafaela that's constantly healing the team up, and on top of it, like the only reason why Dreams had a chance in that game was because if you look at how Queen Bee is set up, she's just constantly trying to catch up the Bruno, and the 2 times that Asterisk lost the fight was just because the Sylvana managed to land the ultimate onto the Bruno, so that just allowed them to blow the Bruno up, and without the Bruno there was really not enough damage on Asterisk's draft. But that being said, all good things must come to an end, and when Asterisk just gathered up for a proper team fight, Sylvana landed on the wrong hero. I'm not sure if she accidentally targeted on Tian, who's playing the Kufra. That was just a mistake. With Queen Bee down, they don't really have a target they can dive on the backline. I mean, Joy is the second target they can dive, but you could see Joy desperately trying to get the Bruno off the board, and the moment both Joy and Queen Bee died, that you don't really have someone that can dive onto the Bruno. So that being said, it's going to be a 1-1. We'll go for, once again, another short break, but when we're back, we'll bring you game 3. Remember, it's going to be BO5. So both of these teams, or these goals, have to get 2 more games in the bag before we can get to know who our grand champions are. We'll go for a short break, and I'll see you right after this. Alright, thank you much for waiting. We are finally back with the 3rd game. Remember, this is a BO5. So both of these teams have to get their game 3 in hand to, be crowned as the grand champions for the FSL MLBB competition. Remember, they are fighting for a grand prize. In first place for 4,000 ice, rather diamonds. Sorry, not ice. 4,000 diamonds. Right. And second place will get 2,000 diamonds, and third and fourth will get 1,000 diamonds each. So both Alpha Gaming as well as Team are already guaranteed 1,000 diamonds, whereas for both of these teams in Asterisk and Dreams, they already guaranteed 2,000 diamonds. The winner will get 4,000, so that's double the price available for them. But for now, let's jump straight into the draft. We've got Digi as well as Vela banned out. We've got Kufa and Carry, so pretty similar, except that there's a little bit of a change. Instead of Nana getting banned out, it's a Kufa. So Asterisk is going to pick up the Nana, they pick up the Joy, the Grok as well, which is pretty similar to what we saw in the previous draft. While Dreams will stick to that Sylvana pick. They also pick up the Bruno as a first pick. So at this point, they ban out the... Oh, this is pretty interesting. They actually let through the Granger, so they're just going to be banning out the Leomod. In this case, if you're Asterisk, you do ban out. I was about to say, you could ban out a Mage, but they chose to ban out the Hylos, which is pretty okay, because most of the games that we have seen so far, we've seen Hylos, we've seen the same old heroes. Asterisk going for a Uranus. I think I can count on one hand the amount of heroes that we usually see being rotated. Other than that, it's always we always see Jawhead, we see the Grogs, we see Sylvana, Velos always ban out, so those are the heroes that are always being rotated through and through. Tamus, it's for the first time we might see a Tamus. We saw a Tamus yesterday as well, but for today it is the first Tamus of the grand finals as well as the semis. And we will definitely see an Archive as well as a Farsa. So I was about to say batting out the Farsa would be a good idea, but I guess Hylos works as well. You know, you don't want too much of a frontliner. But you know, Dreams, they also have a really huge hero pool, so they pick up the Archive. They can put the Petrify onto the Archive, which means more CC available for them. 2 flame shots on the Sylvana as well as the Farsa. Well, looks like there's gonna be an Aegis onto the 1/1. So once again, it's going to be a time race for Dreams to try to end the game as early as possible.
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! All troops deployed!
So remember, this is only the 3rd game, just another reminder that this is a best of 5 for the grand finals. So once again, we're gonna see 4 masks pretty much on both teams, just to get the hyper carry going along for the 1/1 as well as the Bruno. A little bit late there. I'm sure if she actually released like a couple of seconds earlier, she could have just stolen the blue buff away. Archive gonna be laning alongside the Farsa as the Bruno, as we've seen throughout the competition, this 1-3-1 formation. And Asterisk gonna be doing the same exact thing as well. Sylvana not level 4 as of now. Not able to, you know, stun up anyone. Spoon Boost coming up for Irene just to help her with the rotation across the map. And looks like they're waiting to hit the low for most of the heroes right there. Uranus taking quite a bit of damage, especially from the Farsa as well as the Bruno's crit. That's going to be the first blood available on the Sylvana. And they nearly get the return kill onto the 1/1 with Farsa's ultimate. So they don't manage to push the top lane, but you know, Asterisk should be pretty happy with that. They walk away with the first blood, apply a bit of pressure onto the top side. You've got this case of the Sylvana and the Uranus, similar to what we saw in the first game, where it was more of the Uranus against, I believe it was against the not Jawhead, but against the Leomord, where they pretty much couldn't do anything to each other. I think this is quite a similar case, although you do see a little bit of harassment on the Sylvana because of the Justice Lens. I'm sure with the Tamus currently hitting that level 5, whenever Queen Bee just feels threatened, all she has to do is just kind of pop that Quarteran Inferno, and she pretty much will heal up to full HP in a 1v1, so she doesn't really have to worry too much against the jaw hit. Although jaw hit and his missiles will definitely come into effect if and only if Irene does manage to land onto someone into the back line. You can see ASF a lot of trying to put a lot of pressure on the top lane by cutting those waves. Meanwhile, bot lane, Farsa ultimate not being able to reach out just in time. They get the kill onto Rin, and the wild charge as well to knock Queen Bee up. Like I said, pops out the ultimate, gets back into healthy state. Hurricane dance just to push Mickey away, but Mickey's just one more hit away from getting away, or rather getting the kill onto Queen Bee. A little bit out of range, but that's okay. They will probably just go for the turtle. Or maybe not. Maybe pushing mid's a better idea with Archive still lingering around. It's also important to note that Flame Shot does give a little bit of a push, so if you do manage to push the Farsa out, you can just immediately interrupt her ultimate. Tian once again trying to harass her opponents. And just got out any opponents that's trying to come up for the turtle, which Asterisk will secure through Mickey. And if you look at the way, you know, Dreams play, I really do feel that something switched after game 1. Like they haven't been playing exactly the same. You see, or maybe it's just Asterisk stepping up to play. They definitely do a lot better in terms of rotation right now as compared to game 1, where we saw, you know, Dreams being very aggressive and bullying Asterisk throughout all 3 lanes by, you know, sticking as a 3-man squad, but or rather 4 to 5-man squad even still. But this time around it's a lot different. You can see, you know, Asterisk a lot more comfortable with dealing this lineup, and in fact they are the ones that are just pressuring Dreams. Right now in mid you do see Tian, Bubble Tea as well as Mickey pushing down onto the middle lane. They even need Tamus to come up to mid lane, which does give Uranus a bit of a breathing space. And I think this could be a sacrifice. They don't have the Hurricane Dance, so I mean she has the Hurricane Dance, but the Frog Leap was a little bit too far. You can see Uranus just jumping away the second skill as well, so it's gonna be Uranus fine for now. I'm not sure if she actually wants to be there. Bit of a misplay, but that's fine because you see Asterisk pushing onto both the top as well as the middle lane. So they do lose the jaw hit, but it isn't the worst loss there so far. Asterisk still leading with a 2k goal lead 7 minutes in. And that probably is going to be another total for Asterisk. Me trying to scout the opponents. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to secure that blue buff, and not only that, you can see 1-1 trying to stack up those stacks. Wild charge coming in to knock both the members up, but it's not enough. They lost the Savannah, and now the Bruno's Creek comes through. They will get Tian and Mickey off the board, and they want to go for more. They might be able to catch up to Nana, who has Molina Gift, gets her out of trouble just in time, but it's just out of range. But Rin, sneaky little ultimate right there, catches Nana at the edge of the her ultimate, and she will pick up 3 kills for her team. Or rather not she, but Dreams in general will pick up 3 kills. And they just might be able to secure this tier 2 turret. Gets tossed back, that's the target that they wanted. The wall comes up, but Queen's Bee probably just gonna hop over it. Pretty decent trade so far, although they do have to sacrifice a few members along the way. we do see 1-1 building into the Demon Hunter sword right now. Probably will build into golden stuff. She not too bad of itemization, pretty standard. Corrosive Scythe, building a Demon Hunter sword, and then building into golden stuff. But right now, bot lane, we might see some action happening. Right, Queen Meat getting taken out. Group gang coming for Asterisk to apply pressure, and we do see a similar situation happening on the opposite end of the map, with Dreams taking out the Uranus. Difference is Asterisk is already pushing into the tier 3 tower. And look how quickly they're shredding the HP off. Another toss and Joy instantly gets busted up. The threat of the Joy is just too much at this point. Like, if you're not careful, or you know, if you're alone, Irene can just toss you up to your teammates, and this is what we saw with Sylvana. She just wanted to push Asterisk away, but you know, Joy just flips her back into where 1-1 and Nana is, and it's just an easy kill for them. Minutes in, we do see the goal lead potentially increasing even more. They do have a 7 goal lead for now, 7k goal lead. The Antiquary is coming up for the Archive, so that's gonna help them soak up a little bit more damage. And at this point, Asterisk, all they have to do is just play a little bit patient, wait for the super minions to kind of push into the top end middle wave. You can see, I'm sure, you know, they're pretty much ready to sacrifice either the Grog or the Uranus, and I'm sure Rin didn't mean to pop, or maybe she did, but that ultimate form was a little bit too early. It's not going to be available for the next team fight, and that's going to allow Asterisk to just drag those creeps across and push that middle and top wave. Lord's already down, but the tier 3 tower, it's all about that. The wild charge comes in, and they do manage to pick up the Archive, but Asterisk members are dangerously low. They managed to get the shutdown, and that's gonna be a double kill. You can see Farsa not having the ultimate, but thanks to, you know, Bruno being able to farm up quite a bit coming into the late game. See, Endless Battle already completed. Pretty sure that's gonna be going into a Berserker's Fury. Already she has already got a Berserker's Fury, so that's a Berserker Fury and Endless Battle already up. Meanwhile, both teams are just waiting for the next slot to come up. I mean, for Asterisk, all they have to do is really wait for either a good gank onto the Bruno or the Farsa. And for the side of Dreams, they have to force a team fight here, because if they just wait in base, all Asterisk have to do is just wait for the Lord to come up, take the Lord, you know, force a mistake out coming up from Dreams, and they can pretty much just, you know, end with the Lord pushing in, and the super minion waves as well coming in from the top lane, which allows them to pick up the tier 3 tower. Whereas on the side of Dreams, they have to do so much more right now. They have to force a team fight, you know, try to pick up the 1-1, but they don't really have someone that can die from the 1-1. Yes, Sylvana can, but look at the draft that's being put up by Asterisk. They have a Jaw hit, they have a Grog, they have Uranus. There's just a little bit too much to dive on. A little bit of harassment from the Jaw hit onto the Thomas. Don't think they will pursue that. Lord coming up in 30 seconds. If Dreams want to make a play now, this will be a good time. Asterisk just stalking the prey right outside the base of Dreams. And like I said, when it comes to the Talmus versus Joyhead, it's pretty much a stalemate. But things definitely do change quite a bit when it comes to a team fight where, you know, the Joyhead definitely just wants to flip someone onto the back line. Look at that 1.4k. You definitely do not want to be on the back end of that, especially if you're carry like a 1-1 or Nana. But Asterisk's front line has definitely been doing a fantastic job at making sure they can't dive on the back. You can see Joy now jumping onto the ultimate but not being able to land on the right target. They land to Uranus, that's going to be burned. Meanwhile, Tian's doing a good job at keeping himself alive while doing decent amount of damage with the wall charge as well as the wall to keep the opponents at bay. And now they might be even able to get the Archive. But more importantly, Asterisk will secure that Lord not contested. And the goalie at this point in time doesn't really matter because, you know, most of the items have already been up for the cause of Dreams. Although we do see the Bruno building into the last item, I suspect that, or rather I predict that she's going to build into a Blade of Despair, but you know, no time for that because the Lord's already pushing into the middle lane. You can see Jawhead now flipping the Fasa out. Good target onto the Rin. Irene now getting taken out by the Bruno, but that is a fair trade because you got the wall coming right through. Sylvana with the Justice Lance trying to do as much damage as possible onto the Lord, but I'm pretty sure this is it. It's going to be 2 more hits from it, and Asterisk will secure their second game of this BO5. A huge win for them. And this is definitely a lead that they want to have. It's always nice to have that, you know, 1 game extra over your opponent, because, you know, you definitely feel a lot more comfortable going into what potentially could be the last game of the matchup, because, you know, you have that one, you can play a little bit more freely. But if, you know, Dreams have any tricks up their sleeves, now is the time to do so. Let's go through the itemization, shall we? Not too much to really break down. I mean, bubble tea going for basically being the major of the game, which is what I really dislike, right? Compared to what I saw coming out from the side of I believe it was Alpha Gaming, when, you know, we saw Mama Grey playing on the Nana. But that being said, it worked out for them because at the end of the day, Mickey is the true carry of the team. They are trying to get this 1-1 hyper carry going up for them. And it did work, right? It definitely did work out for them. But I just don't really like Nana as a mage. That being said, the meta is a little bit different because they are playing as a 3-man rotation. The Nana is really playing more of a support mage role, so she doesn't really have she doesn't really need too much of damage. You can see her going for the mana regen boots because she doesn't really need that, you know, that magical penetration. All she has to do is just make sure that she stays alive, drop that second skill to stun people up. Whoever the jaw hit flips, she just needs to get the CC in, you know, provide harassment, slow with her ultimate, and let the 1-1 do the real damage. So that's pretty much it, what we're seeing coming up from the team. You can see the damage output coming up from teams as well. Pretty much speaks the entire game. With that being said, we'll go for a short break, but when we are back, we'll bring you game number 4 between these two teams. Alright, so let's just jump straight into the draft because the players are ready. I mean, I've never expected them to be so ready, but now we are already into the second or the first phase of the draft, or the pick phase. We already seen the Bruno as well as the Jawhead being banned out on the side of Asterisk, and whereas our Dreams, they have banned out the Chow as well as the Valor. So they pick up the Grok as well as the Diggy. They also secure the Granger for themselves, whereas inside the Asterisk to get the carry Uranus as well as the Nana. You can see that they really want to pick up the Uranus because, you know, it's a hero that it's really good from the start of the game, where he's not the easiest hero to break down, especially in the 1v1. And if you meet a hero that does a lot of physical damage, it's fine because he can just all of that up. Decent magical damage output, you know, something that not much tanks have. They have burst, but he's a hero that does a lot of damage over time. So the longer that you stay to fight with him, the more he's just gonna regen and you know, break you down. Whereas for the side of Dreams, they're gonna have that Sylvana pick the knight away from them,
Your team
and they're
is
gonna
picking.
ban out the Qualifier, which is pretty good. I think the correct pick right now, I was gonna say an
Your
offlaner.
team
I
is
was gonna be
picking.
saying Chow, but Chow's already banned out, so Leomord is pretty much a good pickup. Asterisk though, they can pick up the, I mean, Archive is still available. Archive is actually pretty decent to push away the Leomord and the Grok. But that being said, I don't think I have seen Asterisk play Groks or rather Archive so far, only Dreams. So they pick up the
Your
Camille
team
as well
is
as
picking.
the Xbox. So it's gonna be Uranus on the top lane, or rather the bottom lane, and then they're gonna put the Xbox onto the top side. We're gonna see the Camille, as well as the Nana and carry rotate Treeman. Aside for Dreams, they pick up the Tamus to complete their lineup. So they will probably put the Grok, the Digi, as well as the Granger to rotate around, while the Leomord and Tamus are gonna split push. So that pretty much is the draft that's gonna be happening for now. Remember, this could potentially be the last game if Asterisk pick this game up. Then it's pretty much them who's gonna be crowned the grand champions of this FSL MLBB tournament.
Welcome to Mobile Legends. 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them. All troops deployed.
Remember, once again, a big shout out to Super Solid, Yahoo, as well as Dreamcore for being our sponsors and partners for this competition. Just to remind you guys what these girls and ladies are fighting for. They are fighting for a top prize of 4,000 diamonds. Second place gets 2,000, and third and fourth will walk away with 1,000. Uranus doing a good job at pushing down the bot lane as always. Really stable laner, nothing to really complain about. Meanwhile, we do see the Grok, or the Angel, trying to harass a little bit Bubble Tea, trying to pursue the issue. Has to be careful but not overstepping their boundaries. You can see the side of Dreams definitely want to turn this around. Bubble Tea's lucky to get out because of the Molina's gift. Meanwhile, top lane, Irene is looking to harass with the Xbox. You can see Asterisk now looking to set up a gank. Oh, Rin threw it on the wrong side, and they're gonna get the first blood. Not only that, they might be able to get Angel out as well. Bubble Tea, not enough damage, still at level 3 because you know, they decided to go for that. It's a 4-mass lineup on both sides. Oh, it's a 5-mass lineup on both sides. Or rather, 5 mass on Asterisk lineup and 4 on Dream. So pretty surprising.
Turtle resurrecting
Well,
soon.
Camille trying to harass the opposition and the jungle. Xbox gonna be spotting Tamus and Digi out. Next fight is gonna decide who picks up the turtle. So they spot out that the Uranus is missing, which is why the Lil actually just comes back to jungle, and they even summon Steed, but I'm sure that, you know, they won't not be able to pick this up because of the ultimate. But you know, Uranus does a good job at dragging 3 members out onto the bottom lane, which means that, you know, Asterisk is gonna pick up a free turtle, and not only that, they will get the kill onto the Grok as well. But look at that, Tamus as well, the rest of the teams have already converged. They get the kill onto Tian as well as Mickey. But that's gonna allow ASF, or rather the Uranus, to just push onto the bot lane. So that's gonna be 3 members of Dreams revealing themselves onto the top side. Uranus knows that she can pretty much push the bottom lane safely. Camille gonna be joining up the rest of the team in the middle of this lane. I like the fact that they pick up the Xbox, because, you know, Xbox is one of those heroes where it will always stay relevant, even without items. I should probably go for the Bloodlust X as the first item. Now Angel in the midst of all of them. Look at that, the burst damage coming out with the ultimate of the Nana, and not only that, they might be able to get the Diggy as well. Rolling, not able to have the angle to land the rest of these shots, which means the Uranus will get away scot-free, and that's gonna be the last insanity coming up from the Xbox. Immediately blows up the Tamus, and they will secure the top tier, top lane turret as well. I can see that this is definitely working out for Asterisk, right? This is where their comfort zone really lies, you know, pulling opponents out of position, which is what they did to a lot of their opponents. Although they lose the Uranus, that's not really a bad, like a huge loss. They 6 more seconds before it comes up. They're putting pressure in the mid. They might lose 10 due to an over engagement, but they can actually pick up even more. Look at that, you see the back line right now. Xbox comes in, blows them up at the back. They even get a triple kill onto the carry. And good rotation coming from Irene, popping up from nowhere. You know, flickers right onto the back line. Uses the ultimate in a really good spot. I mean, they could have, she could have been a bit greedy, and actually tried to kill the Grok, but she spotted out the right position to actually go back. Like, she might just die here because Digi's just gonna drag her back. But what a play that was, coming in with the ultimate, you know, recognizing the fact that, you know, there's even more potential to go into the backline with the to hit as many members as you can. SF has to worry about the positioning. Same goes for Quinby, who doesn't really have as much mobility as the Uranus, who gets a movement speed boost when, you know, he uses his ultimate. And now Asterisk and the rest of them are gonna push down the middle lane. Or Uranus will slow down the push coming out from Dreams. They trade tier 2 for tier 1, which is definitely way more worth it in my opinion, or in anybody's opinion for the matter of fact. And they also pick up the red buff from Dreams jungle. You can see the lead slowly headed towards the 6k mark. They've already gone past the 5k. Little respect up for Leom, for the Granger. But is that enough? You see a 4-man pushing down into bot lane with the help of the Uranus pushing down or cutting those waves. Meanwhile, top side, Irene doing a good job at harassing Queen Bee. And that's the thing about Xbox, right? I mean, damage aside, the fact that the moment he gets max stacks, he starts doing pure damage, that hurts quite a bit. And now Uranus taking onto Diggy. Diggy dropping almost to a quarter of HP, just below. They will secure the kill. They get the Grok as well. And here comes Xbox once again, popping up from nowhere, using the flicker at the right time. And that's going to allow them to secure that triple kill. And I'm pretty sure they will get this tier 3 turret in the middle lane. Meanwhile, the rest of Asterisk is going to be cutting all the waves that comes up from the base, which means that's going to allow the creeps to push right in. Immediately goes for the bottom tier 3 turret. And now not only that, they will go for more. They want to get a kill onto Queen Bee, who has no time to get the regen up, even with the ultimate on active. And look at that, Uranus just jumping onto the backline. He will sacrifice his life for it, which I felt was a little bit needless, but at this point with Asterisk so far ahead in terms of goal lead, it doesn't really matter. Even if they give 1 or 2 kills away. So the other thing about picking up a Uranus in your lineup is that, you know, you force the opponents to, or rather someone in the opposing team, to actually build a Necklace of Endurance, which actually gets picked up by Rin, who's playing Digi. So the reason why you want your Necklace of Endurance is that it does help with, you know, making sure that your opponents don't get the regen. It kind of negates it reduces the regen effect on your opponents, which is really important for Uranus, because that's really, ultimately the essential part of his kit is that he's able to regen, soak up damage, and still dive on the backline without having to worry about taking too much. Tian and ASF trying to keep their opponents away by forming a invisible barrier. They will successfully take the lot, and that's gonna be super minions coming up, not only in the middle and bot, but as well as the top because of the lot effect. And now with the lot coming in from there, look at that. Because of the fact that there is this minion over here, it's gonna allow them to stack up their waves. Although if that wave came in at an earlier timing, that would be a perfect situation for Asterisk. But at this point of time, Asterisk being patient, waiting for the creeps to push in. Look at that, the whip clear, and once again, Xbox freely just walks into the backline, doesn't even have to use this flicker this time round. And with the Lord's help, they will secure that win for them. This is it, Asterisk. They are your grand champions of the FSL MLBB tournament. And what can I say? Pretty straightforward. Look at that. That convincing goal lead available for Asterisk. 66% of the damage dealt from Dreams is by the Granger, but it wasn't enough. Just falling a little bit short. If that being said, I mean, it has been an interesting game so far. I mean, that third game itself is pretty much one-sided, and it really came down to Asterisk having a lot of freedom in the draft and able to just pick up whatever heroes they want. You know, they have a really huge hero pool, and that also comes with the experience of Tian, you know, playing the MPL. You know, she's always constantly in the front line. She knows, you know, the boundaries of her hero she's playing, and in that game, you know, you do see her playing the Camille absolutely fantastic. You know, going in the right time, you know, trying to take up as much damage as possible for the opponent, and then when the Xbox comes, which is always the turning point in the fight, every single time you see Tian dropping really low, soaking a lot of damage, that allows Irene to just jump in the backline with the Xbox ultimate when no one is kind of noticing, and it absolutely just catches, you know, Dreams off guard. And by the time, you know, towards the late game, even if you're looking after the Xbox, there's just so much arsenal in, you know, Asterisk kit that they don't really have anything to deal with. So that being said, congratulations once again to Asterisk. They will walk away with 4,000 diamonds, whereas on the side of Dreams, they will be walking away with 2,000, which still isn't too bad. You know, congratulations to them for coming in second place, and that, you know, for Team and Alpha Gaming, they walk away with 1,000 diamonds each. Once again, a big shout out to our sponsors and partners, you know, Dreamcall, Super Solid, and Yahoo for making this possible. Big shout out to FSL for organizing the tournament. Remember, we also will have the other regions have their competition going on. I believe it's Myanmar and Philippines. We will update you with the date as well as the rest of the FSL circuit. We'll try to get that up and going. You know, it's the COVID-19 situation. We're not sure when we can update you. So remember, if you want to find out more about the FSL circuit, you can follow us on our social media on Facebook and Instagram as well. Do remember to give the stream a like and share this with your friends. If you missed out any of the rest of the games, you can watch the VODs as the games goes on. My name is Aris, and it has been a fun time casting this game. I hope you guys have fun listening to me as well, and I'll see you next time around.